Hello, everyone, and welcome to Maria's Kitchen. Today, I wanted to show you how to make a great summer dish called ceviche. It's perfect for hot weather, and with our summer reading theme of discovery, I thought we could use some fish dishes. So, first, I wanted to talk to you about the science of ceviche. It is basically you're cooking raw fish with acid, and it's called denaturation of proteins. And that acid basically turns something like fish that's translucent into white meat. And so that's basically what you want. If you end up going through this process and your fish is still kind of translucent, then it's not fully cooked. And sort of like the same idea as when you fry an egg, and the white of the egg is completely clear or translucent, and then it's cooked because you know it's all white. And that is what you want your fish to look like. And you can use different types of fish. In this recipe, I'm using shrimp. That's one of the most popular, but you can use tilapia, you can use sea bass, you can use different kinds that will taste really good. And so a little bit information about the history of ceviche. So the ceviche comes from the idea of ceviche, that whole process of denaturation or macerating raw fish or meat is using vinegar, citrus, and spices. And that term is called escabeche, which was brought to the Americas from Spain, and that came from their Muslim heritage. And so that is sort of how the process started. And then when Spain took over, parts of North America, Central, South America, escabeche became a cooking process that was incorporated into the different cultures. So everyone wants to claim that they invented ceviche, but really, I think the people that really did have the history of ceviche is Peru. They really probably are the ones that invented the whole idea of ceviche. And the Moche people of Peru, 2,000 years ago, were already using acid to cook fish. And what they were using were like fermented fruit juices from like passion fruit or banana. And so they used that. And then when the Spaniards took over and they brought limes and oranges and lemons, then that just took a whole other route to it. And so a lot of different types of recipes of ceviche exist out there. And so there's a lot of different choices you can make. And it's really actually a healthy dish as well, because you're using a lot of raw vegetables in your dishes. And so you can use pretty much a lot of different things. I have a friend from Peru, and she makes wonderful ceviche. She has a lot of red onions. She uses a white fish, and she cuts it pretty big. And then a little bit of ají, which is like a chili that comes from Peru. And it tastes wonderful. The recipe I'm going to show you today is actually more of a Mexican recipe. And so this is the recipe that just a real basic classic ceviche that I grew up with. And so basically, I'm going to show you, we start off with some shrimp. I'm going to show you this. And this is what the shrimp looks like. I kind of bought big shrimp. I only bought half a pound, but the recipe usually calls for a pound of fish. And then those are some white onions that I'm putting on top. And then there's some lime juice. So if you use a pound of fish, you're going to need 1.5 cups of fresh lime juice at least. Be prepared to have more than that, because I don't really feel like I halved my recipe and I don't feel like I had enough lime juice. And that's important because you want your fish to be completely covered in the lime juice, and then you want it to be kind of not too tight either. So kind of swimming in that lime juice is a good thing. And then after this, what you end up doing is you ended up covering it, and I cover it up and I put it in the kitchen. The refrigerator. You put in your refrigerator and you let it sit in there for about 4 hours. That's what I did. And so it worked pretty well, but I've seen a lot of different recipes where they're showing you that you should, you can put it in there for half an hour, an hour. And I'm like, no, you need at least 4 hours, because at that point you are going to you're cooking the fish. You want to make sure that it's no longer translucent. So after about 4 hours, it also depends on the size of your chunks of fish that you're cooking. And you want to look and see, and then, look at it after 2 hours. Open, cut it open, look and see, is it translucent or is it white? If it's white, then you're probably pretty good. But I kept my shrimp going for 4 hours, and then I looked at it and I said, yeah, I think I need a little more time. So I cooked it for like another hour or so, and then I looked at it again, and then it looked really good. So right now I'm going to show you the base of the ceviche. And this is something you can do while you're waiting for your ceviche to marinate in that lime juice. So those are just tomatoes. That is a serrano pepper, and I'm putting in the tomatoes. And I just chopped up a bunch of fresh tomatoes. And I just put one serrano pepper, and then that is cilantro. And I really just kind of eyeballed it. If you want an exact measurement, you're going to use like 2 large tomatoes, and you're going to use 2 or 3 serranos. I used 1, and then I poured in some orange juice, some freshly squeezed orange juice, and that kind of helps. You want a little sweetness in your ceviche. In Mexico they do anyways, so you have that. And then I added, a 1/3 cup of fresh cilantro that you want to use. And so that was pretty basic. The base is pretty easy, as you can see. And you can, experiment. Add a few more things. I like to add some fresh corn, because that really gives it a nice flavor. It really gives it a good punch, and it just sort of, I don't know, it just tastes really good with that with that corn. And you can add avocado to that base. Like once you add your fish, then add like maybe some chopped up avocado, and you can even add really anything fresh that you think would taste good in that would be perfect. Something like a special type of salsa that you're making, you can add that. And so what I did add also was some green olives. And the green olives really give it a kind of nice flavor, because you're kind of making the sauce a little sweet with the orange juice and lime juice, and then the olives kind of give it a nice little punch to it as well. So here I'm showing you, I already pulled out. This is after 5 hours of cooking that shrimp. And you're going to see, remember, it was gray, and now it's nice and pink. And there it is. And it's been marinating with those onions, and that really gave the onions a great flavor. You can hear my dog walking in the background. Sorry about that. But I think she got interested when she saw that shrimp. And then you're going to want to drain it. You don't want to leave that lime juice in there. You're draining that because you're going to, you want it to stop cooking. If you leave it in there, it'll just keep cooking, and then you'll have a bigger problem because then you'll have overcooked fish, and you know what that's like. It's not good. And so that is your drained cooked shrimp now, which is kind of fun to see. And then now I'm going to show you kind of like the final product. So you have your shrimp drained, and then you have the base of your ceviche, which really play around with. You know, once you try it, you can always add to it as well. You know, if you think it needs like a little more salt. And that was something I forgot to put the salt. And guess what? I didn't need it. I really didn't need the salt because I think those green olives, which you see there, actually helped balance that out. And so because ceviche is a great dish, it's super easy to make. You can see it's kind of looks really pretty as well because it has all that different colors, and it's just kind of fresh. And I also use different colored tomatoes. That's because that's what I had. And I think that really added to it. And so you definitely want to put it in a nice dish. And so the dish that I'm using is actually just a glass that is used for margaritas. And that's pretty common in Mexico. You'll see a lot of, if you go and you get yourself a ceviche, which, or in the menu could just be called shrimp cocktail. You'll see that they'll serve it to you in a nice little special glass, and that's why I decided to do that. Now you're going to eat it with tortilla chips or with tostadas, or you can also eat it with saltines. That's really popular in Mexico. They give you a lot of saltines for your ceviche. And there it is. That's your ceviche. And so that was not too hard to make. It takes time. So you do definitely have to prepare ahead of time because you are basically, you know, cooking that fish in the acid with the lime juice for several hours. And so you don't want to mess that part up. You don't want to overcook it. You don't want it undercooked. So you really do just have to do it just right. And let's say you're afraid. You know, the very first time that I made ceviche, I was afraid to do it. And I used cooked shrimp. And that's okay to do too. You know, if you want to try it out and get an idea of what it's like, just make the base. Definitely have extra lime juice because you definitely want that flavor in your base. And you could even marinate your cooked fish maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes. You don't want to marinate it too long. And then throw that into your base, and you can still enjoy ceviche and not be worried about eating raw fish, because even though it's cooked in the lime juice, it is raw. So, but it's pretty safe. And so I think you should give it a try this summer. If you want something that, you know, you want to make something fresh and healthy, and you don't want to heat up your kitchen because it's 100 degrees outside, this is a great dish to try. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope you give ceviche a try. Thank you. Bye.